A California father says he was threatened with arrest when he was traveling with his daughter and TSA agents ordered a pat-down of the 10-year-old. So the dad stood by but recorded the screening and then posted it online. Now, comments are no longer allowed on the video, but the dad had commented that he may have overreacted, but he insists the TSA should have handled it better. Kris Cleave joins us from Washington with more. The video is getting passed around. A lot of people are outraged by it, but how does the TSA respond, Kris?
Well, the TSA says there are certain procedures to be followed that do allow a young person to be patted down. Now, the TSA had changed these rules after a 2011 video of a child being patted down, sparked outcry, and then Congress urged TSA, required TSA really, to change those rules. So, TSA doesn't like to talk specifically about what the rules are because they say it deals with security. So we don't get much more specifics than what you see on the screen there. TSA screening procedures allow for the pat down of a child under certain circumstances. The process by which that child was patted down was within the approved procedures. Now, the father took issue with the length of the pat down. He felt that the force that was applied was unnecessary. He said after the fact, we talked to Kevin Payne, the father of this 10-year-old, today, and he told CBS News that the next day she asked what it would have happened if she had screamed because she wanted to scream the whole time. The pat down went on for a little under 2 minutes. The father feels like that went on too long. And then, of course, you have this issue where he claims that the TSA threatened to arrest him if he interfered with this pat down.
Kris, what sparked the pat down in the first place?
So she had a Capri Sun juice box in her bag, and you're not allowed to have that, obviously, as you're going in through security. So that then prompted a explosives test where they swab your hands and things to see if there's any signs of explosives. Evidently, there was a false positive there where the result came back that there was some trace of explosive, which prompted then the pat down search.
Okay, and I know that there were other passengers who, in the same time frame, were testing positive too, which is what led them to believe this was maybe miscalibration with that machine. But I got to tell you, I flew in December with my toddler twins, 2-year-olds, went through a security screening, and I had packed yogurt for them to eat. Now, there's still rules that say for babies and toddlers, you can have special food or drinks or things like that, but then they're going to swab your hands for explosives. And I still got the pat down, even though the test came back negative. And it was very thorough. It was very invasive. I was offered a private screening, but of course, with the stroller and 2 toddlers and all the luggage by myself, I said, let's just do it right here. But again, I'm a grown woman. I can imagine a 10-year-old girl would have been put off by how much groping is involved, even if it's for a good reason. Is there any sort of arbitrariness to this? Like, can the TSA agent or the manager on duty decide, look, it's clear she's not a threat, we're letting her through? Or do they have to do the pat down if the test comes back positive?
Her father was asking that same question. He suggested, why don't you just test her again with a different machine? Because he says that machine had been alerting multiple times to multiple people, and none of them had explosives. And depending upon what the equipment is, it looks like there is a body scanner behind her in the background there. Could the body scanner have been an option? I mean, sure, there may be circumstances where the situation could be handled better. Certainly, the image of a 10-year-old girl being frisked the way she is here is unsettling to a lot of people, I think parents in particular. And the father, the reason he put it on social media first was he wanted to see if he was overreacting before he decided if he was going to file a complaint or not. And ultimately now he believes he is going to file a complaint, perhaps with the help of a San Diego congressman. He lives in San Diego County, making that point that, the mayor was a better way, he thinks, that this could have been handled. And sure, I think in hindsight you could look at that and go, maybe there should have been more discretion given. But the pat downs are not popular. And because of the nature of security here, we don't necessarily get a lot of specifics as to what the requirements are that prompt a pat down versus what doesn't. But certainly a 10-year-old with a juice box doesn't sound like somebody who is a threat.
Well, and I got to tell you, I'm kind of surprised that they let him record that, because a lot of times if they see you with your phone out, they tell you right away, put that down, no recording at the security checkpoint. So it's rare for us to then even see it. Hey, I got to ask you about another transportation story that's making big news today. United Airlines is getting a huge fine, $2.75 million, because of violating airline disability rules and for these tarmac delay rules, you know, where you're not supposed to be stuck on the airplane forever, waiting and waiting and waiting to take off or to get to your gate. What's the deal?
All right, so the rule right now is that on a domestic flight, you cannot be on the tarmac for more than 3 hours. Before that, they need to let you get off the plane. So some of this fine comes from those, from several delays, lengthy tarmac delays, but the bulk of this fine, about $2 million of it, comes from issues with how the airline has handled passengers with disabilities, things like their wheelchairs and other accessibility devices not being returned in a timely manner or in the same condition as they were given to the airline, having the wheelchair assistance folks not show up in a timely manner. So this is several incidents that were happening at Houston International Airport, Chicago O'Hare, Denver International, Newark, and Dulles International Airport here in the Washington, D.C. area. So this was a fairly widespread issue the FAA investigation identified. And then it also, some of this fine goes into some long tarmac delays, most of them centered around incidents that happened on December 8th, 2013, which was a severe weather day. Where in the Chicago area, where there was a lot of snow, and they say that gate mismanagement at Chicago O'Hare led, or at least heavily contributed to those significant delays.
Wide-ranging chat with you today, Kris. Thank you for all the information.
Sure thing.